Hello, everybody. Thank you for coming today. This is actually way more people than I thought were going to come, because this is literally just going to be one of my Twitter rants about action as storytelling, but now with a live studio audience. So, when I say action as storytelling, I mean, what defines good action? Now, I feel in film right now we are going through kind of a renaissance of American action. We have movies like Mad Max, Fury Road. We have movies like John Wick, Atomic Blonde. No shaky cam, no CGI clusterfucks. You see something like Transformers, and it's just a big metal mash. You don't see any action. You don't see any story. Every fight tells a story, and we're going to go into that in this talk. I almost said panel. Now, to clarify, action does not only mean fight scenes. Action can mean chases or escapes. You'll see this a lot in Pixar movies. Something like Ratatouille is not necessarily an action movie, but it has action sequences. Sports, you watch something like Slam Dunk, Kuroko's Basketball, like the movie Rudy. The action in a story is anything that is not the blah blah. Competition, you have something like, I don't know, Kakegurui, the gambling anime. You have Akagi, which is about mahjong. You have Chihayafuru, you know, they're playing Karuta. That's a card game, but there is still an element of action to it. However, there are a couple things about action. Action has to be immediate. It has to be something that we are dealing with right now. It is a situation that the characters cannot escape and have to follow specific rules, like win a fight or win a race. And its outcome must affect the story or characters in some way. Whether, you know, losing means that the hero won't be able to get their goal, whether winning can cause a problem, you know? The action must affect the story or the characters. Do you want to go? There we go. Most importantly, action is always in service of the story, or at least good action is. We'll talk about filler a little later on, we'll just touch on that. But right now we're just talking about good action. Now, a good action sequence tells a story. I mentioned this before, and that means it follows all the proper beats of a story. It follows the dramatic arc with exposition. Where are these characters? Who are they? Why are they fighting? Rising action, building, and explaining to the climax, a turning point in the story or the fight. Falling action, and repeat that middle section as many times as you need until a resolution occurs. We'll start with a famous movie fight, something pretty simple. I hope all of you have seen Enter the Dragon. This is one of my favorite movies. This is one of the best action movies ever made, and if you've never seen it, go and watch it. It is fantastic. We're going to start with the final battle in the movie where Bruce Lee, his character's name is Lee, fights Mr. Han, the villain, and it's done in 3 acts, basically. To start the fight, Lee's younger and stronger, and he beats the crap out of Han. It's very one-sided. It's a very famous scene right here. Mr. Han has this like claw weapon, and Bruce Lee is younger and stronger and just beats the crap out of him. However, there's the turning point in this fight. Han starts fighting dirtier. He switches out his claws. It looks hilarious. It looks like 5 steak knives jammed into a metal block. He escalates the stakes by running into a room of mirrors. Now that he's in the room of mirrors, Lee can't hit him. He can't fight him. He's always seeing reflections. He's not sure if it's the real thing or not, and Han is able to sneak up on him and cut him up. For the final part of the fight, Han has the advantage, so we're wondering, how is Lee going to win? Lee starts breaking the mirrors. He has like a revelation of something his teacher said at the beginning of the movie about, you have to see past the enemy's trickery. So he starts breaking the mirrors so that he can see which ones are the reflections and which one is the real Han. Just like before, he forces it to a close-range fight and kills him. There's the complete arc of the story. Basically, to make a good fight, you present the hero with a puzzle to solve. This happens a lot. It can be incredibly simple. We're going to cover 2 very simple ones from 2 very famous anime. We're going to start with One Piece, which is probably my favorite action series right now. Luffy versus Crocodile has that exact same arc of hero has a problem to face, the villain takes the advantage, but the hero has to solve the puzzle in order to beat the villain. It can be as simple as it needs to be. We'll cover that in the next one. Start off, Luffy, his power is stretching, but really, he punches things. That's his power, he punches things. He can't punch Crocodile because Crocodile always turns into sand. That's frustrating. Luffy finds out that water limits Crocodile's sand powers. He like pours water on him, he tries to spit water at him. Eventually, He uses his own blood to make the attacks connect, which is pretty cool. It was a really badass scene. Now, we'll go even simpler. Dragon Ball Z. Dragon Ball Z has some of the most basic fights. However, they usually tend to reward cleverness. So in Dragon Ball Super and in the movie Resurrection F, Goku fights Frieza a second time. They both have new forms, they have new powers. The fight is even, they're very equally powerful. He gains the advantage at some point, but why does Goku gain the advantage here? Frieza gained new weapons. He gained a new style, he gained new powers, basically, but he didn't train for the whole fight. As soon as he got his power, he ran off to fight him. This is basically, the way I describe it is, Frieza didn't do his cardio. He didn't do his road work. Goku actually trained in his new form, learned how to fight in it for the long term, and this made the fight make sense. You can have the most badass fight scene, but if the finale or if the resolution doesn't make sense, if it doesn't have consistency in its world, it's not good action. Character doesn't always have to win for it to be good action. I'm specifically talking about this guy right here. Rock Lee is a character with 0 meaningful victories, and yet his action is memorable and important to Naruto's story. I mean, what was the last win he had? It was his doppelganger, who he killed off screen. When we first see him in the series, he fights Sasuke. It's a brief, sparring match, effectively. But his purpose at this point is to show that the characters still have room to grow. Here's where he wins to show that he is strong. Then he fights Gaara. We know that Rock Lee is strong when he fights the character Gaara. Gaara's been hyped up, but we don't know what he can do. So by bringing us this really epic and even battle with Gaara, we show the threat of the arc's final boss. If he can beat up Rock Lee, even just by a hair, that shows how dangerous he is. Come later on with Kimimaro, it's this crazy showdown to show that Rock Lee has grown and also to tease Gaara again. It's kind of his role in the story at this point. Rock Lee's job is to always fight the strongest person in the story arc and show how threatening they are to the main characters. So it's really important that with action, characters have a purpose. They don't actually have to go in and beat the bad guy, but they can very easily show how important another character is by losing. So how do you put all that together? Let's go over those steps. Action tells a story. Present a puzzle for the hero to solve. And sometimes, losing is actually the better option for the story. Hunter x Hunter, the fight between Gon and Hisoka in Heaven's Arena. Episode 36, if you want to watch it. It's really, really good. So, Hunter x Hunter is really good about presenting puzzles for the heroes to solve, and in this case, Gon has multiple puzzles to face when fighting Hisoka. First off, pure physical combat, this really cool part of the episode that's just going to loop forever and ever. All he wants to do is land one punch. That's it. He couldn't hit him in the Hunter exam. And he wants to show how much he's grown, so he lands one punch. That's what he wants to do. When he does, Hisoka's like, oh my god, you got it. So good, I'm so happy. Now I'm going to use my powers. Hisoka turns on his powers, and Gon has to fight a stronger opponent. At this point, his only objective is to survive. He can't just keep running away. He has to actually find a way to hit back. And that's the puzzle that he has to solve. Hisoka gets tired of this and starts using his ability, Bungee Gum. This adds another puzzle. Gon has to learn how it works and then figure out a way to overcome it. With this fight, it taught us a couple things. Gon grew, obviously. It's a shonen manga. Everybody grows in shonen manga. However, a lot of times characters will stand still. When we don't see them in the story, they're just as powerful or just as smart as they were previously. Hisoka has grown just as much as Gon, if not more, and we get to see where Gon is. By always having somebody above him, Gon is never really the strongest. He is for 5 seconds late in the series. All of you who've watched it know what I'm talking about. But Gon always has room to grow. That makes us want to keep watching. Testing Gon as a protagonist has been very, very important to this fight. He has the personal pride. He wanted to hit Hisoka. Now he has a loss to avenge. He applied all the Nen training he had from Wing for the past 15 episodes, and he literally used everything he learned to fight Hisoka. There's a memorable opponent in this case. It's not somebody brand new. It's somebody we've dealt with in the story, and we know what he's capable of. And then they had to work within the rules of Heaven's Arena. It wasn't a fight to the death. It was a competitive fight using points, using rules, using boundaries, and a referee call that actually changed the arc of the story. All that together makes for a pretty damn perfect fight scene. So we have a lot of great action anime on Crunchyroll, and also on Funimation. A couple other sites have some cool stuff too. My favorite, that I will never ever shut up about, is Hajime no Ippo. It is a boxing series. There we go. That's what I want to hear. I feel it has some of the smartest action in anime. It works within a system, within the rules of boxing. The fights always present a puzzle for the hero to solve. This guy has long arms. This guy doesn't get tired easily. This guy fights the same way I do. The hero always has to figure out how to defeat his opponent with the skills that he has. Parasite is very interesting because it's a horror series. However, each time he fights a new parasite, there's something new. There's something different. Maybe there's conditions. People can't see this fight. There's a lot of different reasons why the hero can't just go in and murder the guy. He has to actually find a way around the problem and solve it. Gintama, of all things, this goofy-ass sitcom has excellent fights. I'm not kidding. It's like, the way I describe it is if it was Always Sunny, but every 50 episodes or so, it turns into The Raid. Like really excellently choreographed, brutal, and beautiful action. The thing is, a lot of shonen manga or shonen anime, the feeling is fight dirty if you must. With Gintama, it's fight dirty if you can. So, My Hero Academia, super popular right now. It's basically, in my mind, it's the spiritual successor to Naruto. It's Naruto if Rock Lee was the main character. And it's really good. Check it out if you haven't. Sword of the Stranger. This is gorgeous. This movie is so freaking cool and has the coolest sword throw I've seen in a movie. Usually, when the hero throws a sword, it's some cool, clean thing, and it, like, stabs the guy immediately. This, like, hits the guy diagonal, and he's just like, and drops over. It is an incredibly brutal but fun movie. Really, really great. Character designs by Hiromu Arakawa, the Full Metal Alchemist creator. Really cool stuff. Check out Sword of the Stranger on Blu-ray by Funimation. Haikyuu! Remember how I was talking about sports? Remember how I was talking about puzzles that the heroes have to solve? It's volleyball, yes, but it is still action, and it's still very good action. Initial D is another thing. You're driving cars, right? You're drifting, you're doing like uphill and downhill races, but Initial D does a really good job of explaining the action and, again, giving the heroes puzzles to solve. For the start, the hero is always racing on the same track that he's known all his life. So he knows this. He can beat just about anybody on this road. Eventually, he has to travel around Japan and learn the tricks on different roads, and that makes it really interesting, and you want to see what he does and how he comes out on top. That jumped 2 spots. Utena, fantastic, very emotional fighting, great choreography, always a lot of heart behind every single one, and Utena usually, instead of coming up with some kind of physical trick to beat the opponent, it's something on the inside that she has to resolve each time. All Noah Zero, yes, the plot is goofy, the plot is ridiculous. However, the battles are basically, the hero it's like he has to solve a Rubik's Cube before it blows up in his face. That's what it's like. So, check out all these action anime and many more, all kinds of cool stuff. You can apply, I use shonen as a major example for a lot of this. That's because it's simple, but you can apply these principles to any action scene. You watch a movie, you watch seinen, you watch a sports movie, right? Same principles. Thank you so much for coming, guys. Enjoy the rest of Crunchyroll Expo. See y'all later.